Okay, we shall kick things off. Good evening or good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to our latest FirstPoint USA Rugby webinar. My name's Ross Duncan. I'll be hosting the webinar this evening. I'm head of the marketing team here at FirstPoint USA, and we're delighted to be joined today by two FirstPoint athletes who have recently completed their freshman seasons, and very successful ones at that. So delighted to welcome from Southern Nazarene University, EJ Bowdler, who many of you may have seen on various bits of FirstPoint marketing collateral, and also another freshman, Cameron Kean from Brown University. Cameron, another poster boy of FirstPoint USA. So great to have you both with us today. And thanks to everybody who's signed up for the webinar and joins us today. So hopefully there'll be quite a few of you who are just a few weeks away from starting your US college rugby journey. And this evening's webinar is really all about helping you guys prepare for your final few weeks before you head off to the States. Things, kind of handy tips, guidance, advice from two people who have been in the same boat as you pretty much exactly 12 months ago, before Cameron and EJ headed out to the States to begin their college journeys. So we've got a few questions that we'll pose to them. Feel free to ask your own questions. We do have a chat box function on the platform that you should see on the left-hand side of your screen. So if we've not asked the questions as we go, we'll keep those questions for the end. We're also recording the session, so if you do happen to miss any of it or have to duck out early, we will be sharing a recording of this evening's interviews with you tomorrow. So don't fret if you do miss any of it. So yeah, we shall get things started. And we'll first I guess you've been there both pretty much 12 months since you went out. So we'll start with you, AG. So just in summary, how have you enjoyed your US experience so far at SNU?
Well, I've enjoyed it like a million times out of 10. I've done so many things. I've traveled so many states within the first 8 school months. Been able to play in so many different conference championships, the national championship. Made loads of new friends all over. I've just really enjoyed it, and I'd recommend.
Great to hear. And how about you, Cameron? How's your first year at Brown been?
Yeah, I'm very much the same. Sort of totally blew away my expectations that I had prior to going, whether it be for like the social aspect or the facilities or the sport. It's all been totally amazing, kind of blowing my mind. So it's been great.
Good stuff. So for everybody in the audience this evening, I think we've got two great advocates certainly for US college rugby, and both are FirstPoint ambassadors. Both had very successful freshman seasons. EJ won the national championship with Southern Nazarene, first time of asking, and Cameron is an Ivy League conference champion as well. Both have played 15 and 7, so each aspect of the game, or each format of the game as well. So we'll hear a little bit about that, but we'll start things off just by getting a kind of bit more of a flavour about where they both are in the country and what the kind of campus is like. So starting with you, Cameron, you're at Brown University, an Ivy League university. Tell us where that is in the country and what the campus is like and what the climate's been like over the 12 months.
Yeah, so Brown is it's in Rhode Island, which is actually the smallest state in America, but it's really close by to Boston and New York. So it's sort of right in the middle. It's not a small campus, but it's a tight-knit community, I'd say. A big sort of sense of togetherness and friendship on the campus. So yeah, very welcoming. I'd say from a weather point of view, you definitely get all 4 seasons. So in 2 weeks, when I go over to pre-season, it's going to be scorching hot, which I'm not looking too forward to. But when it's Christmas time, you'll be knee-deep in snow. So you definitely get to experience all sort of weather over there.
Absolutely. A bit of everything. And hopefully this fine Glasgow weather will help you acclimatise for pre-season training when you head back. EJ, how about you? You're in a different part of the country, so tell us where SNU is based.
So I'm based almost in the center, just above Texas in Oklahoma, cowboy country. Really warm, really humid, great food. It will be very warm when I go back for pre-season, about 35 degrees, I think it's supposed to be. So very, very warm.
Great stuff. And what about the campus? How big or small or otherwise is your campus?
So we've got about 4,000 students. That includes off-campus students. Very small, but I would say I prefer the smaller community, because I can walk to the dining hall and I know the person in front of me, or I know the person to my left. I can have a chat with people, and like people recognize me. So I feel like I can look around and see friends everywhere. But I feel like that's why I chose this university in the first place, because I didn't want to get swamped in a place I didn't know. I quite like being able to see familiar faces and have a chat with them.
Great. So hopefully that set the scene for both where EJ and Cami are based and the type of university that they're at. So turning the clock back then a year, we'll stay with you for this first question, EJ. If you take us back to this time 12 months ago and your kind of final few weeks in England before you headed out to the States, what were the sort of key elements of your preparation, and what were you sort of planning and preparing for at this time of year?
So we were sent in, I would say, the early June, late May. We were sent a massive strength and conditioning program that I was staying very close to. I was doing the strength part. I wasn't so much in the conditioning part because I hate running. So the last 3 weeks, I decided that it was a 5K every day type situation. So alongside doing my 5Ks every day, I was going into the shops, getting everything I thought I needed. Loads of like plugs, like US adapters. And then I was saying goodbye, like having parties to say goodbye to my friends, like barbecues. And then I had got my visa sorted, making sure my passport was correct, all my IDs, insurance, my F1, FI20 papers, like all of that was all good. Yeah, basically just enjoying the last 3 weeks was trying to get fit was my things.
That was the key. And what about packing? How far in advance did you start your packing?
Probably not as far in advance as I will this year. I think I'll start packing about a week and a half before, but I think I kind of put it off due to nerves until maybe 2 days before. I remember stressing my mum out, and she was like, "What are you doing?" But luckily I didn't forget anything. It was all packed, so we're all good.
Good. And Cameron, how about you this time last year? What were the kind of key things that you were prioritizing at the time of your sort of pre-departure period?
Yeah, I was definitely stressing out about my visa. I was triple checking. It was still on my passport after I got it. But very similar to EJ, making sure I was seeing a lot of my friends before getting a couple good nights out in Glasgow before I head away. I also left packing to the very, very last minute. I think I was the day before, so I've beat you there, EJ.
Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, stocking up on UK snacks. Had to make sure I had plenty supply of tea cakes and an iron brew in my bag. So yeah, much of the same.
And how much communication did you have with your coach, Cami, in the lead up to your departure? That's something that's come through in our certainly our soccer webinar the other night. Were you in regular contact with Coach LaFlamme before you headed out?
Yeah, so I also had a big pre-season fitness and conditioning plan, which I tried my best to stick to. I'd be having emails probably every week with Coach LaFlamme, and then assistant coach Ryan Grant. He would be in contact with me most days, just checking in, giving me a little WhatsApp, see how my day's going. So I definitely felt really supported throughout the whole process, and it really helped me sort of calm my nerves.
Good stuff. Okay, so you had that kind of final few weeks of prep then, and then headed out to Rhode Island, to Providence, to arrive on campus. What was your kind of first impressions once you got there, and did your parents accompany you, for example, when you first went out there?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have my parents and my little sister all come out with me, so that was really important for me. Sort of made the move in a lot more easier for me. I think my first impression was it's very hot, but no, it's a beautiful campus. Not being biased, but it was really good looking. It was obviously I'd seen it before when I went out to visit in spring, and it was looking good, just how I remembered. But yeah, sort of the sense of community really stood out to me. I think immediately just the amount of people want to get to know you and actually learn what you're like and who you are. That was really refreshing to see, and sort of made it a lot more easy.
Yeah. And was there anything that kind of caught you by surprise, something that you didn't expect or maybe didn't prepare for when you first arrived?
I'm not too sure. I think I was lucky enough to visit probably 3 months before I came out for pre-season, so I'd done a good scope of the place. But no, I think I didn't expect the food to be that good. I kind of had it in my head. Rhode Island wasn't known for its food, but I got on Thayer Street, it's called, on my campus, and there's Shake Shack, Taco Bell, Chipotle. So I was definitely pleasantly surprised at that.
Great, that's an added bonus, certainly. EJ, what about you? Had you gone out to SNU prior to going, or was your kind of freshman first week the first time you'd been there?
Was that question to me, Ross?
Yeah.
I can't hear you, unfortunately.
Right.
I can see your mouth moving. But I'm guessing It was about my prep and my contact with my coach beforehand. Was that right? Or no?
It was actually about your first impression arriving on campus for the first time.
Oh, hold on. I still can't hear you. You're gone. Hold on.
Hear me now?
Okay, try again.
Yeah, so just your own first
nothing. I'm
impressions.
sorry, Ross.
Okay.
I can hear you sighing.
Apologies for.
Oh, there we are.
Here, guys. Can you hear me now?
There you are. Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, we're all good. I've got a sweat on now.
Good. No problem. Yeah, so just your first impressions of arriving on campus, and did anything kind of take you by surprise?
So when I arrived, my two coaches picked me up straight away from the airport with my roommate who'd got there a few hours before. Also like a FirstPoint athlete. Went to the gas station and it caught me by surprise the amount of Dr. Peppers they had in the fridge. I'm a Dr. Pepper fiend. I was literally like jaw on the floor, had to pick it back up. My coach was sending my mum videos. He found it hilarious. And then on the sides of like rugby and schooling, I just quite like the easing into things process. Like I didn't feel like I just got there and all of a sudden class was like in your face and you had to do this work and you had to catch up on this. I feel like I was supported quite well. Like it wasn't, you're in school now, deal with it. It was like, okay, so this is how the next few weeks are going to work. Like this is the process of things. This is who you can contact. And that actually caught me by surprise in the best way possible.
And what were your dorms like? Again, we see all the campuses, the facilities, but I guess we don't often see your actual living quarters. What was your dorms like?
So I'd actually say my dorm was pretty nice for a freshman year dorm. It was huge. Couldn't give you the measurements, but I know it was massive. I had 2 beds. I had my bed and my roommate's bed. Then we both had a desk each with a chair. Like massive wardrobe space, and then we shared a bathroom with 2 other girls. It was a lovely bathroom, massive open shower, a huge mirror on the vanity. It was, to be fair, I see some freshman dorms online and mine was much better. It was so much better. I loved it.
That's good to hear. And staying with you then, EJ, tell us about that first week. What did it actually look like? What did it comprise of? And what were some of the things you kind of had to do straight away, the kind of admin side of being a student athlete, I guess?
Mm-hmm. So the first day I got there quite late. Both my coaches picked me up, dropped me out to my room, took all my bags up to my room because I was on the 3rd floor, which is the highest you could get. Next day we woke up at about 7, 8, and we all had team meetings with the coaches. It was like individual and then as a group. They talked you through like what you still had outstanding. So some people that hadn't set up their insurance properly, which I actually didn't have the right insurance when I first got out there. They helped me through that and reorganized it so I was able to train in the afternoon. I got my physical done that day. What else did I get done? Got given all my kit, my backpack, and then we were given a minute to chill. And we had NSI, which is new student like initiation type thing. You get put in a family group basically of maybe 10 other people, 10 other students, and you just go around doing different activities together. The next day, I think we had about 5 a.m. training till about 10 o'clock, with a break in between. They gave us loads of Gatorade and like muffins, which was great until you were doing a Bronco afterwards. And then sort of midday, because it was so warm, we got that time off to do the new student bits, making sure we had all our class books. I had an international student lunch where we got given like extra USB plugs. My teachers gave me a whole booklet of like maps around the town, or should I say the city, with like size guiding and emergency phone numbers. It was really good, to be fair. And then yeah, I think we went back to training in the evening, then dinner, late evenings. We then had like team meetings. We had like talent shows, or like we got paired with the big and little as our partner through the rest of the time we were there. And I absolutely loved mine. It was the best thing I've ever done. Like, so glad the coaches put us with the big and little, because she became my best mate. And then yeah, had like talent shows and relaxed as a team in the evening, and then the same for the rest of the week, pretty much.
Sounds good. Cameron, how about you? How was your first week, and what did that kind of look like?
Yeah, I was also nicely eased into it. Apart from the Bronco on the first day, that was a bit of a shock. But apart from that, lots of trips to Target and Walmart, trying to get supplies to make my room look as homely as possible, getting keys, IDs, all that fun stuff. I remember after my Bronco, it was media day, so I was sweating like a pig, getting my photos taken. So that was really good. But no, a lot of exciting things. Got to meet all my team, met my freshman class, who are absolutely amazing. Got lucky with them, thankfully. A great group of boys, and the rest of the team as well were super, super welcoming. I also had a couple similar international meetings, sort of going over admin with your visas, state IDs, or recommendations and tips on what to do and stuff about Providence like that. So very similar to EJ.
Great. So it sounds like you had a lot of support then. Did you feel overwhelmed by it, or did you feel there was kind of loads of support around about you that you kind of didn't have that inclination to feel overwhelmed?
Yeah, I think heading into it, I was definitely a little bit worried, like, oh my God, I'm 17, I'm going to uni, and I need to learn how to do all this stuff. But it definitely wasn't as bad as I thought. I think the rugby team really helped me out, easing me into it. That sort of 2 weeks of pre-season was really beneficial for me, because it gave me 2 weeks without having to worry about class and sort of get myself settled in, meet all my team, meet my friends, do all the admin stuff I need to do before the rest of the school arrived. So that was a great big bonus for me.
Great. And when it came to meeting your teammates, then again, was that quite a kind of easy transition? Had you communicated with any of the guys in advance before you went out there?
I think we connected on Instagram. And then I remember I was going to the toilet, and this big, massive giant came out of the room next door, who I found out to be my teammate. And I was like, dearie me, he cannot be 18 years old. I must have got the wrong place. But no, it was very casual. We all sort of bumped into each other, and then movie nights, going to the beach, lovely stuff like that, going on a couple dinner dates together. But no, we got on really well with each other, and we got to know each other really quick, just because of the amount of time we spent together during pre-season.
Excellent. And EJ, same question for you then. How did you find kind of meeting your teammates for the first time, and I guess over that initial period, what sort of things were you doing to create those team bonds?
Well, I got to share the excitement with my roommate, who I mentioned earlier, Jordan. So again, she was a FirstPoint athlete, first time in the States as well. And I can hear myself.
There's an echo there. Apologies for the technology. We're trying our best to make it sound better, but yeah, the recording will hopefully edit some of that out.
Perfect. So yeah, I got to share my excitement. It was great. We actually, it sounds very American, and it made my parents laugh, but we went to like all the Walmarts and the Target straight away with her dad, got to explore. And then like team bonding activities, like I said earlier, we had like talent shows, the big and little. We had a team barbecue at the end of the week. That was really fun. I remember I was the first, or my roommate and I were the first internationals our team had really had with a different accent. So we were just getting questions on like how we say certain things. And media days was really fun because we were all dressing up funny, and there was loads of different props. That was hilarious to do. I'm trying to think. We had like a Southern supper, which we all dressed up in cowboy boots, cowboy hats, and then had like country music on. We did as a team, so that was really cool as well.
Brilliant. So again, just looking back then, if there was anything you could have done differently to prepare you as best you could for your first week, what would that have been, or did you feel you had everything covered?
I felt like I had pretty much everything covered other than the fact that I needed to run a little bit more. When we were presented with the Broncos, it was rough. I wasn't expecting to like struggle with adjusting to the heat so much. That was a hard time. You just have to make sure you're hydrated and prep for the hot weather, to be fair. But other than that, I feel like I was pretty prepared. You know, I had all my stuff, all my list of things packed, my adapters, my insurance, my visa, all my paperwork was ready to go and in a special file, so I knew exactly where it was. Yeah.
Very well organised. Cameron, same question for you. Was there anything you felt you could have done differently, or were you pretty well prepared for life as a student athlete?
I'd like to think I covered the bases pretty well, but definitely do a lot more running than I did. I wasn't expecting to get flung into it immediately. I kind of had it in my head that, you know, I can run, I'm fine. It's not as easy as you think. The intensity definitely took me by surprise. And then paired with the heat, I was dying. I'm not going to lie. First week, I was struggling. I thought, I'm not cut out for this. But it's a mental game, and you learn to adapt, and you learn to deal with the heat and the intensity. So no, it was all good.
Good advice from both of you. And the next question was really about kind of acclimatizing to weather, but I think you've both covered that. So I guess the key message, loud and clear, is do as much running before you go out, so you're better prepared when you go out. And I guess, you know, doing it in this weather, for those of you that are based in the UK, you know, it's been 30 degrees most days for the past few weeks. So hopefully you've taken the chance to feel like you're training out in the States and get out there running in the heat. So yeah, good luck with that. So staying with you, Cameron, then taking it forward into your kind of, once your class has started and combining classwork with the training, what did a typical day look like in your first sort of month, and did you find that academic and training balance difficult to begin with?
Yeah, so we'll train 5 times a week. That'll include gym sessions, recovery, film sessions, so all of that. And then obviously you'll play on the Saturday and you'll usually get the Sunday off, or you'll have some recovery. But I think at first, maybe the first couple of weeks, trying to find that balance and that routine between taking classes and then also managing all my sport, because you really are just treated like a professional athlete. You're expected to go to all your trainings, go to all your recovery, whilst also be a full-time student as well. So it can be a lot at first, but I think my team were a great help. So are the seniors, the older guys in the squad. They really gave me a lot of tips and recommendations to help me manage through it, what classes to take, maybe take a few easier ones before you get used to that kind of thing. So I think you just really need to plan ahead and get into a routine. And then after I'd say a month, 3 weeks, I was sort of right into it, right into the swing of things, and it wasn't bad at all. Very manageable.
Great. And is that something you would advise the incoming freshmen this year, is to kind of reach out to the seniors beforehand, or I guess once you get there and getting to know them and using them as a bit of a sounding board?
Yeah, 100%. Half the things that I've learned from Brown are from the older guys on the team, like sneaky loopholes, tips and tricks, things to do on your first day, where to eat, where not to eat, like all that stuff just came from my team. So I think I'd really encourage you to reach out early and get to know them, and don't be scared to ask questions, because they're super helpful, because they've all done it before.
Brilliant. And EJ, how's a typical day at SNU pan out for you between training and studying?
Typical day. Oh, every day is different. I don't know. So we would probably get up, do weights in the morning, have breakfast. A lot of the time we'd have team breakfast together, because we've all got kind of the same schedule, which is why the coaches do it that way. Go off to classes, probably have classes the longest until about 2. Quite often you have a gap between 11 and 1 though, where you can go eat, do what you want, relax. Some people nap. And then you've probably got about an hour and a half, 2 hours to chill, do your homework, but make sure you're balancing your academics with sport and relaxing and socializing. And then we probably go off for a team practice on the pitch. Come back, have dinner together again as a team, because again, same schedule. It's quite easy to facilitate all however many of us, like 40 of us there are. And then to have a chat, relax, and then quite often people end up going on long drives and going to get more food or going shopping, or we went to Topgolf some nights. What else did we do? Line dancing. Yeah, It really depends. Every day is different, and that's kind of what I loved about it as well, because it wasn't same old, same old. It was constantly constantly exciting, if you like.
Good stuff. And how did you find the balance then between training and studying? You obviously said it's important to have that balance, but as Cameron said, you're a full-time athlete, but you've got to make sure your schoolwork's kept up to speed. How difficult is that when you got such a busy schedule?
I think it can seem difficult and it can seem overwhelming, but in the grand scheme of things, if you were to break it down, you have times in your schedule. Like, your coaches, don't get me wrong, are making sure you are training and playing like a professional athlete, but they're also aware you're there for academics too. And a lot of places will say your academics will come first. So I know of teams at our school that have like a soccer only training like revision session, homework session, or we'll have like a team, like my coaches will constantly be texting me like, why have you not been to class today, or have you revised for that test, have you done this, have you done that? And I think if you look at it from a grand scheme of things, breaking it down is much easier because you can see the gaps in your timetable. Like, half an hour here gets 4 assignments done. I think you just have to be motivated to do it, and it's really not as hard as it may seem.
Yeah, and again, that's a message that's come through in quite a few of our webinars. There's a lot of support out there for student athletes, for international student athletes in particular as well. So not something to get worried about or overwhelmed by. So moving on to the kind of more fun side then, your first match day experience, and sticking with you, EJ, to answer this first. You obviously played at a pretty high level back in England before you went out. How was that first match experience, and maybe how did that compare to one of your big games back home in England?
So we played OU, which is like a local team to us, big university. We've been rivals for years and years and years. And that game day was probably one of my favorite game days because everything was fresh, everything was new, the excitement was crazy. Got up in the morning, had like a Chick-fil-A breakfast together as a team. Went in the minibuses. It was about 45 minutes, really not that far in the grand scheme of things of America. Traveled over, and then we had a nice little warm up together, prepped with Gatorades and things like that. We won 105-0, and it was just like our freshman and like second year class that were playing, anybody that was new as well. So we all got a chance to kind of work with each other and show off, basically. And it was probably my favorite game we've ever played because it was just so like everyone was like, yes, finally the season started, like everything we've worked for in pre-season is finally here. It went really well for us. It was just a mass enjoyment. And then in comparison to levels here, I would say that it's actually pretty similar. Like, that may have been an easy game to start the season, but it definitely built up. Like, we played BYU and there was maybe 2 points in it by the time we finished in the semi-finals. So we were challenged, and I was working my butt off in that. So it wasn't an easy game whatsoever. Like, I would say the level's pretty similar. There's obviously going to be a slight difference where things are still new and adapting, but pretty similar, I would say.
Good. And how quickly did that first game come around? How soon after you arriving did you play your first game?
I think, okay, so same as this year, I have to get there for about the 11th or 12th of August, and then we have pre-season for a week and a half. I think that game must have been first weekend of September. So
Okay.
quite early in. But yeah, I'm so glad we did it. It was so much fun. I hope we do the same thing this year because best game of the season.
Good. Certainly hit the ground running. Cameron, how about you? How quickly did your first game come around, and how much did you enjoy your first college rugby match day experience?
Yeah, mine was also the first week of September. It was an away day to Fairfield University, so 2.5 hour drive on the bus with the boys. So great atmosphere on the bus. That was good. Lots of sing songs, lots of karaoke. So it was a good atmosphere leading into the game. Very hot and muggy day. I remember it was like playing underwater, but I couldn't believe the support that was there. There were guys with megaphones, with boom boxes. I was like, geez, I'm playing in the Burnabout here. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. It was a really tough and physical game. Luckily, we got the win, and then afterwards, again, my mind was blown. There was a tailgate. We got Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, fed. It was amazing. I had the time of my life. I got to play. It was amazing to put the jersey on for the first time and play with my mates, and then get a win, and then well fed after. Ideal.
Chick-fil-A, a constant theme here. And you've obviously transitioned from kind of playing a good level of school rugby and under 18s rugby, and then you're moving to play with kind of senior guys and big lads, as you were saying earlier. How did that compare then, moving from that under 18 age group into senior rugby?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a big step up. The talent over in America is like no joke. There's kids who are coming from massive English schools, South Africa, New Zealand. There's a really international sort of student base in the rugby sort of game over in America. So there's huge amounts of talent, and the physicality is what stood out to me. The Americans are known for being big, and you're going to be playing against kids who are almost 24 years old as a freshman. So physically, you've got to be ready. It's an extremely fast-paced and athletic kind of style of game. But no, the standard's really high, and every game that we play is, obviously we've got a few easier ones, but we were really pushed throughout the season. Some great programs out there. So yeah.
And you're obviously in the engine room, second row normally, is it? How much have you had to kind of bulk up then since you've been out there?
You can ask my mum. The cupboards are permanently empty now that I'm home. I think I got a wee bit of a shock. I went out there, I was like, yeah, I've put on 10 pounds, I'm gonna go smash it. I was wrong. They are absolutely massive out there. So the strength and conditioning guys are really helpful. They've really helped me out, sort of taught me how to do a lot of things, taught me my diet, taught me what to do in the gym and what sort of thing I should be doing to put on the weight. So I think I've put on 50 pounds since I first got there. So I did have to put on a bit of weight, and I still need to, but it'll all come naturally. I think once you're in that environment, you yourself will want to do it, and you'll feel motivated, and it won't be too bad.
Great stuff. And moving on to the relationship and kind of communication with your respective coaches, staying with you, Cameron, first for this one. How would you describe your relationship with head coach Dave LaFlamme, the other coaches around you, and what advice would you give to guys going out there for the first time in terms of building those relationships with a new coach?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think me and Coach Dave are good pals, really nice, always up for a chat. And that goes for all the members of staff in the rugby team. We've got Eddie O'Sullivan, who's the ex-Ireland and British Lions head coach, is another one of our coaches. He's a very old-fashioned coach. You either like him or you don't. Very, very hard, very strict. But no, I think he's quite funny, and I do like him. So all the coaches are great, really, really helpful. Obviously, a great standard of coaching out there, and they're always super supportful and usually very understanding. And that kind of ties into the student athlete thing. There is a big focus on rugby, and there's a big responsibility for it. But at the end of the day, you're there to get your education. So arrangements, sort of exams, extracurriculars, they're always super understanding.
Great advice there. And EG, I know you spoke in the previous webinar about one of the reasons you went to SNU was the head coach and how well you kind of got on with him from the start. How important is that relationship to you? And again, what's that support been like from the coaching team, and any of your kind of advice you would give out to people going out there for the first time?
Yeah, so I think my coach G, our head coach, I see him as almost a father figure. So I think he cares so big about everybody on the team, whether it's the men's team, women's team, whether it's just you're part of the university. Like, my coach is so caring, and every week I've had a FaceTime from him. I mean, 2 days ago he FaceTimed me showing me the grass that he was trimming. I was like, oh, thank you, Coach G. Or Coach Willoughby, our second coach. Like, I have text conversations with him all the time. I did leading up until getting there. Like I said earlier, they picked me up from the airport, took all my bags up to my room, treated me to dinner as soon as I got there. Like, I'm sure there's a world where you wouldn't have been treated this nicely, and I was so lucky that my coaches took me in straight away. I think both of them care. What they've said to us is, before rugby players, before students, we're people. And that's the most important part. We're all away from home. We're all in a new environment, in an environment that makes most people uncomfortable. And they're our support system. They're our closest people through that. So I'm very grateful for my coaches, and I have chats with them all the time. Like, literally, I send my coach memes, or Coach G, for example, find a a really bad photo of me, which isn't often, everyone. And he'll just send it to me off the bat for no reason. So he finds himself hilarious, but he looks out for us all the time. And like Cameron said, like they helped with arranging all of our game day stuff. If there was a problem with, oh, I've got an exam that day, that's fine, we'll sort it out around your exam. Or, oh, I've got to go to a class at night, have to miss half of training. That's cool, get yourself there. Or even my third coach, Coach Brooks, she would take some of us from the field straight to our classroom door. So they were very helpful coaches.
Great. And out with your rugby coaching team, what support is available for you, I guess, on the academic side and the kind of non-rugby playing side, and is that easy to go out and find that support?
Yeah, so I'm sure it's the same at most universities, but we have like a resident director, somebody who's in charge of the halls basically. And mine was a lovely couple, and at the start of the year they'd been gifted tea bags, like Yorkshire tea bags, and there was multiple occasions where they'd be like, oh, you're right, do you want to come in for a cup of tea? And then they'd just take me in, give me some snacks and make me a cup of tea, and I was like, this is perfect. Taught them how to do it the first time around, they knew how to do it every time after. So they were a great support system. Anything I needed, whether it was, oh, I need bin bags or I'm having a rough time, they were there for it. And then obviously I had my friends around me, but also academic advisors. Anytime I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm in over my head here, like I don't know if I can do it, I need a job, or I'm late on this class, my academic advisors would kind of sit me down, bring me back down and be like, it's okay, like we can sort it out, nothing's too far gone, like you're okay. So there was definitely a lot of support. And my school actually offers like 7 free sessions of therapy for anybody that needs it. And this could be, oh, I just want to go and have a chat, or this could be something more serious. And after that is you get like a very low price that's on campus, not very far from the dining hall. So I think that's a really great opportunity as well. Like even at some points I've gone and thought, oh, I'm really stressed about the game next week, I need to go and talk to someone, and they're there for it all the time. So,
yeah, key takeaway would be a lot of support out there, and you just have to ask if you're unsure of something. Would that be the same at Brown, Cammy, for you?
Yeah, for sure. I've also got a really helpful academic advisor who'll talk me through my classes, which ones I'm taking, which ones he maybe thinks aren't the best fit for me. But yeah, aside from them, my team are a huge support system for me. All my mates, or if I'm ever feeling stressed or a bit overwhelmed, just going to one of their dorms or going for a drive with one of them sort of takes your mind off it. We at Brown, there's tons and tons of academic support. So office hours, I can't recommend enough for incoming freshmen, go to office hours. I was the same when I got on campus. I was like, I'm not going to office hours. I'm fine. I'll be all right. Trust me, that's where all the secrets lie. Before an exam, go to office hours, because it's those guys who'll be writing the exams. So they are super, super helpful. I couldn't recommend them enough from an educational point of view. But my team, my coaches, academic advisors, and then we've also got therapy sessions if you need, wellness rooms, all that kind of thing. So you'll never be short of support out there.
Excellent. And one question that comes up a lot, and we touched upon it in the soccer webinar on Tuesday night, was homesickness. Did either of you get homesick, and what were your coping mechanisms, and how often did you communicate with your family once you went over there? We'll stick with you initially, Cameron.
Yeah, I definitely got homesick. I'm not afraid to admit it. I think it's totally normal for any kid who's going away from their family to get homesick. Mine came a lot during the second week of pre-season. I was in for my third training session of the day, sweating, absolutely shattered, and I was like, I just want to go home. So I was FaceTime my mum, FaceTime my grandparents, but it gets a lot better. I think as soon as school starts, you're going to be so busy and you're going to be so involved with things, you're not going to have time to worry about it. And then by the time you know it, you'll be home for Christmas. So you'll have tons of time to speak to your parents, your family, your friends, and it's totally normal feeling. I wouldn't say it's an alarming if you're feeling homesick, because I definitely did.
You dealt with it well then. EJ, how did you cope being away from home?
I didn't actually face much homesickness the whole time I was there, but it could have been because I think I spoke more on the phone to my mum whilst I was away than I do now, being at home with her. I honestly had my mum in my hand all the time. I was like, oh, look at that cloud, and like on the phone to my mum all the time, and I think that really helped. And then I think I got homesickness at our national championship, actually. It was a week before I was coming home, and everyone had their family there. And like the week before, we didn't really know what was happening, if we were going, where it was going to be, so it was hard to organise. But the friends that I've made it so much better. I was taken in with open arms from all my friends' parents and my coaches, like giving hugs everywhere. It was like I had my own family there, and it only took me a few minutes to realise, like, just because these aren't my blood related people, these are my people, and it made me feel so much better, and that definitely helped me cope.
Brilliant. And two key things in your first years then, and a big part of American culture then we'll touch upon is Thanksgiving, your first Thanksgiving dinner and your first spring break. Tell us what you did for those two occasions last year.
So Thanksgiving, we had something called Friendsgiving. Cameron probably had the same thing. We had a massive team dinner. Loads of our coaches came, and then loads of teachers came, brought us loads of dishes. That was great. We kind of went round, boys and girls team, saying what we were thankful for, and recognizing actually how we were there and how we got there and what we're doing to still be there and how grateful we should be. I had a great time there, and I also got taken to one of my other friends' houses for a few nights on a ranch. That was awesome. And then spring break, I went to Florida with two of my friends. It's like a 13-hour drive, living it up on the beach. It was great. So glad we did that, because my first time in Florida. But yeah, they were my first two holidays, and I absolutely loved both of them.
Fully embracing American culture then.
Oh yeah.
Cammy, how are your two first Thanksgiving, and can you tell us about spring break?
Yeah, so my first Thanksgiving, we got a generous 5 days off. So I was lucky enough to arrange with my mum to go for a wee long weekend in New York. And I absolutely love Christmas. So it was Christmas decorations everywhere. So I was like over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. So a really relaxing, enjoyable stay for me. And then spring break, I was actually at the National Sevens tournament for the majority of my spring break. But I got a couple of days in at the end where my frat were hosting a lot of big parties. It's called Spring Weekend. So there's a concert put on by Brown where a lot of famous artists came. And then my frat had a couple of DJs in and some big parties. So I made sure to get some social batteries recharged.
Sounds good. Good insights there and different perspectives on those. But again, fully embracing the American way of life with Thanksgiving and spring break, which I'm sure you're all looking forward to. Okay, before we kind of cut to the final couple of questions, I'm going to try and bring in my colleague, Jamie Beresford, who many of you will know from working with him throughout your journey. Jamie's just going to talk to you about some of the kind of key practical and admin tips, some of the guidance that FirstPoint are recommending for incoming freshman student athletes. So I'll pass you on to Jamie for the next couple of minutes.
Thank you very much, Ross. I'll try not to keep you too long so we can get back to Cammy and EJ. They're the more interesting people to speak to. But first things first is getting your visa sorted. Looking at the names on the call today, pretty much everyone's got their visa sorted. If you haven't sorted that yet, we'll have a quick call before your appointment just to make sure you have everything's in place so that when you turn up on the day, it runs smoothly. Once you have all your visas sorted, which, like I said, most people on this call do, would be communicating with your coach. It's been talked about a few times. Sometimes you end up on campus a couple of days early for preseason, sometimes weeks. Just communicating with your coach when that start date is so that you can start booking flights, all right? Once those flights are booked, let your coach know when you're flying over. I wouldn't just turn up out of nowhere. They can sometimes help send someone to come pick you up. They can pick you up themselves. I was lucky enough, one of my teammates came and picked me up and brought me to campus. So just communicating that with your coach early and letting them know when you'll be arriving in the US. Some people might go over with their parents. That's great. But again, still communicate that with your coach when you can. Tell you what to bring when you're traveling. So obviously your phone, passport, which will have your visa fitted into that. Bring a copy of your I-20. Those are the main things we say to bring. Bring a power bank and a charger, an adapter, all these things if you can. Make sure you put them in your hand luggage. It's not very handy when your bag's in the hold and you need your visa. It's probably not the best thing to be leaving that in your big bag. So just put that in your hand luggage. Those are the kind of the main things. Again, I-20, visa, phone, adapter. If you have a power bank, bring that, your wallet, things like that. So if you need to buy anything, you can. When you arrive on campus, If you're there for pre-season, the coaches will kind of show you around, bring you to your dorm, you'll get your keys and things. If you're there around about the same time classes start, you'll go through an orientation. That typically is around about a week. It's a bit more, I'd say it's laid back in terms of classes, but it's pretty full on. You have to run to so many meetings. There's a lot of presentations, a lot of sitting down, and to be fair, a lot of socializing as well. You get to meet a lot of your teammates and things, which is great. Your typical, you'll see your dorm for the first time. Now, it won't be fully kitted out. It's not going to be nothing. When I turned up in my dorm, it was a mattress, and that was about it. But for now, I think it will be, now it's probably a wee bit better. You typically have a desk. Sometimes you'll have your bed, things like that. But most players do like a bit of a Walmart run a couple of days afterwards. So I wouldn't advise packing bed sheets and things. John, I know you asked in the chat earlier on about bringing bed sheets and Tupperware and things. I wouldn't recommend packing that. It just takes up a lot of space in your baggage. You can get that stuff easily enough in a kind of Walmart and Target and all these kind of places. All right. In terms of what to bring, remember, it sounds silly, but remember your rugby specific stuff. So remember boots, gum shield. If you're a forward, if you wear a scrum cap, bring your scrum cap, things like that. A lot of the universities you'll be going to will offer like training gear, so you don't need to bring as much. I remember I went over with loads of rugby gear and loads of rugby shorts, and I never wore them because I had to wear school gear all the time. So make sure you speak to your coach and kind of find out what kind of rugby gear they're going to present to you. Also, make sure you're packing for the climate. Cam in particular mentioned it'll be roasting when he gets there, but when it comes Christmas time, you're in a foot in a bit of snow. So make sure you're packing for both, okay? Overall, pack fairly light. Most of that stuff you can get over there. So like I mentioned before, bedding and that you don't really need, but pack smart. If you want to have a quick chat with myself beforehand, by all means, we can jump on a call and just talk through a bit more of the specifics on what to bring. Mobile phone, that's another thing some people have asked me about previously. When I went over, I used my own phone provider would allow me like a US package. Some people use Mint Mobile or Ultra. There's loads of different things. eSIMs are typically the most popular right now and easy enough to get set up. Banking. So a lot of our clients in the past have used apps like Wise, Revolut, typically what I would have used. And then Monzo, they're really easy. They avoid a lot of the kind of currency transfer fees. So you're better off using those. And like I say, they're super easy to use and are really kind of user-friendly. Health, like I say, that's banking and things. Health insurance would be another thing. So a lot of universities people are going to will offer student insurance. Obviously, rugby stuff is covered within the university, but a lot of schools will offer separate health insurance. Sometimes it's optional, sometimes it's mandatory. If you don't get the school's health insurance, that's fine. You can then use a third party. You typically need a base level of cover just to cover everything except for rugby, so any illnesses or things like that. So you must bring proof of that health insurance. You just have a print off of you have that insurance. So say if the worst was to happen, you were to get ill, and it wasn't something that could be solved, kind of the school could help with, then you'll need to go to a doctor, and that's where you have that health proof of insurance. A lot of schools will require a proof of insurance when you turn up there. And the main thing would just be staying connected with us as well afterwards. So when you're over there, any kind of issues you have, any questions, we're there to help, but we can't help if we don't know there's an issue, all right? So feel free to reach out, give us a text, give us a call. Everyone in here typically works with myself, so feel free to reach out to me whenever you need anything. Like I say, we're here to support you throughout the whole time you're out there. When you get there initially, it's a bit of a shock, a bit of a culture shock. I'm sure these two can testify. It's different, but you're lucky enough to go in with a kind of pre-made group of friends that are there to support you, and you're definitely not alone when you're over there, and we're also here to support you.
Great stuff, Jamie. Thanks for that. Some good insights there. I think you've probably answered one of the main questions about not worrying about panic buying with everything sold out once you get there in August. You guys think that'll be fine. And then a good point from Moira regarding size of dorm beds. So just make sure you kind of check that before you go out, because there might be some sizes that you can't buy here in the UK, and you can, in certain cases, order that online before you go. Jamie will be sharing a pre-departure guidance document with you. It'll feature a recording from this webinar as well, but just really a kind of key checklist and what to pack and different priorities for when you're going out there, and that will get shared with you in the next few days, and that'll be a useful document to keep with you. So thanks to Jamie for his advice and guidance. Obviously, Jamie's been there and done that as well, having played out at Life University quite a few years ago now, so certain things might have changed that Cammy and EJ will be a little bit more up to speed on. And we wish Jamie well with his recovery from surgery. Okay, moving back to our two special guests on the webinar then. A couple of more questions left. So starting with you, EJ, what would your biggest piece of advice be for the incoming freshman class before they go out? What would be the one thing, the one kind of call to action you would offer them?
I think that you need to recognize as a whole that things do get hard. Like, you are going to university on the other side of the world. It will be hard, but you're still doing it, and you need to believe in yourself and push through those hard times. Like, if you stay strong-willed, you'll succeed. And it's closer than what you think it will be. It's so much fun, and when you reach that point, it'll so be worth it.
Captured that well. Great answer. Cameron, how about you? What would your one big bit of advice be?
Yeah, I'd say just take every opportunity you can and just make the absolute most of it. I think I've only done 1 year and it flew in. Time flies when you're out there, and the amount of opportunities, people you might meet, chances to do things you'll come across out there, there's tons. And just try to do as much as you can, because you don't want to be sat there in 4 years thinking, oh, I wish I joined that club, or I wish I spoke to that guy. Like, just take absolutely every opportunity you can and make the most of it.
Great. Again, great answer. Well captured. So hopefully you guys will take that on board and really maximize your time out there. And the guys have obviously got 3 more years to enjoy that as well. So I'm sure we'll be hearing a little bit more from Cameron and EJ over the next few years and their student athlete experience. So just a couple of quick fire questions then before we round things off. And we'll start with EJ for this one. What's the one thing you wish you'd packed more of?
Alongside tea bags, I would probably say shorts. I didn't come with as many shorts as I thought I needed. I needed way more. Basically, I was sweating constantly, was not prepared for the extreme weather that it was. I mean, I was in shorts up until like December the 1st. Like, it was so warm. And then, yeah, tea bags. A little bit of home helps when you're down. Like, I think I bought out just a little bag of them. When my parents came out in May, they bought me one of the big 100 tea bags. So that was great. I definitely needed that at the start of the year. So yeah, a little taste of home and be prepared for the weather.
British tea. Cameron, what would your thing be?
Yeah, for me, it's chilly sensations. But apart from that, I'd say pack a suit or some sort of formal wear, because I did not. And you'd be surprised at how many times you'll have to wear a suit. You'll have formals, you'll have interviews, you'll have some of my team meetings or traditions. It's like, yeah, you need to wear a suit. And I'm like, guys, come on, I don't have a suit. But you'll get the wear out of it. It's only thin and small. I'd really recommend bringing one of them.
Good advice. Thanks for that. And staying with you, Cammy, the biggest surprise about the US so far for you?
I'd say just the sense of school spirit. You see all the movies and they're all like go team, stuff like that, but they are really like that. And it's an amazing sort of environment to be in. Everyone, no matter what sport you're in, whether it be soccer, rugby, American football, everybody's cheering on just because you're all part of the same school. So that sort of sense of community and togetherness really took me by surprise.
Great stuff. EJ, how about you? What's taken you by surprise the most?
I think I'd have to agree with Cameron there, like the school spirit, but also the fact that there's something every week that my school's organising. Like, we have a taste of culture one week where like loads of different cultures bring together different food that everyone goes to, or we have like a roller skating activity one week that everyone goes to. There's constantly something to get people involved with one another and to like build the community stronger, which again ties into the team spirit and like the school spirit. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that when I got there. My weekends are busy.
Very good. And final question, and we'll ask you first, EJ, the best moment of your college career so far, either on the field or off the field, or both?
I think it's quite hard because obviously like the achievements we got this year, but I think All Stars was definitely my favourite. I got to fly to Atlanta, being one of the only freshmen going to the event on the women's side, to play with a whole bunch of people I'd never met, barely even had on social media. Like, it was great, and I got coached by so many different coaches, met hundreds of girls that I'm still in contact with and still friends with, and can't wait to see when I next get the opportunity. And yeah, just that whole experience, the whole like 3-4 days being in a different state, different coaches, different teammates, it kind of blows your mind because you can see the growth of everything, and you just get another amazing opportunity. That was just the best bit.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Sounds like a great experience and a great achievement for you. And finally, Cammy, then, what would be your best moment or favourite moment, either on the field or off the field at Brown Rugby?
Yeah, like EJ, being selected for the All-Stars and the Academic All-American, they were also big highlights. But I would have to say my personal favourite was beating Dartmouth to win the Ivy League championship at Dartmouth. That made it a lot better with all their fans and their sad pledges going home. But no, that was my highlight.
Nothing sweeter than an away victory in a derby match then, as it were. Great stuff. Well, I think that's all the questions. I don't think there's any more questions coming from the audience. So we appreciate your time this evening, EJ and Cammy. Some really great insights from you. Really good to hear your experiences of college life, student athlete life so far. And hopefully that's given a really good flavour, I think, for the incoming freshman class for this year and the guys and girls that FirstPoint are sending out to the States this year. So hopefully that's going to help you over the next few weeks. As I said, Jamie will be sharing another document with some hints and tips and practical guidance, and he's there to help you in your final few weeks and once you're out there as well. So really appreciate both of you coming on. We wish you every success for your second year. We'll no doubt see you on FirstPoint socials over the coming months as well. So look out for that. If you don't follow them already, you can do that. This is recorded, as I mentioned, so look out for the email coming if you did happen to miss any of it. And yeah, that takes us to the end of the webinar. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. There will be other webinars coming up in relation to rugby and student athlete life as well. So look out for those coming up over the next few months. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll hopefully see you again soon.